Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing a trade review for both the NASDAQ and the ES mini contract for July 12th, 2013. Now, I covered the majority of this on a post I put in midday on Friday, so I really just want to kind of focus here at the end of the day, middle of the day, and what we're looking at here is what I was concerned with and what I tried to tweet out is that we were trading near the highs, particularly in the NASDAQ. And I said basically in ES that I did not have a particular edge here. And the reason for that is if you look, so buyers had control coming into lunch, but look at the chop that's taking place through the middle of the day here. And just coming into the end here, we have about 45 minutes left in the day here, and we're just getting ripped from a chop standpoint. If you have tight stops and you're chasing up, you keep getting stopped. If you're trying to short, you're getting tagged out. You pretty much had to make a bet, and the bet was this: that the buyers were going to maintain control and we were going to rip straight up, or your second choice was, you thought we were going to roll over through the white zone, which was a low odds bet. And basically, you had to know that we were going to come up through this zone, which was the second or third time actually we tested up in the zone break. And you just had to be accurate in dumping out at 1674. And then look at the move down from 1674 to 1670. And I think that was my point that I want to make at the end of the day is if you're not precision, if you think through the mentality, you think, oh, we're going to rip right into the close. Well, if you thought that, we kind of got ripped down for 4 points. And I mean, unless you just bought perfectly right in here, you gave back the majority of your profits. Shorting wise, high odds that with a 4-point run up here, with a break to the new highs of the day, odds are you stopped that trade out. If you didn't, you got damn lucky, because let me tell you, that's a low odds affair. And then your third choice is, well, I shorted perfectly at 1674, but I can just show so many examples of where we just kind of ripped through 1674 and that this 1680 was a total possibility at the end of the day. And so I thought the best position for ES at the end of the day was really to be flat. Again, the majority of my focus is here at the beginning of the day where the pickings are easy. First test into the white zone, rotation up for 2 points, 2 nice clean points. Even though I didn't take it, the back of the zone was doable. Had we been trading, really, ideally what I would like to see is a middle to back of this zone for a short back down into the white zone or the zone below, but certainly for an 8-tick trade, which is, again, my entire focus for when I'm getting someone going in a profitable direction is to focus on 8 ticks. Why? There's a huge high probability that you will nail that 8 ticks and that you can take that money home and put it in your pocket. And all you need is 1 to 2 profitable trades a day to be successful. And I know I keep hammering over and over and over again, but so many people jump from one trade to another trade. If the trade doesn't work on a particular day, they stop trading. They're simply looking for something to make their trading work. And they don't stay consistent. They have no setups and consistent setups on getting in their trade. They have no consistent setups on getting out of their trade. They anticipate moves up or down, and it just kills them. It kills them, especially on a day like today. Let me tell you, numerous traders lost a lot of money in this chop trying to anticipate this move right here. And really, this move right here was just a slight extension from this move here. And traders who chased, on the other hand, and bought in here got absolutely murdered on this downside move. Now, the NASDAQ was a little bit cleaner at the end of the day, and we'll take a look at that in just a second here. Let me pull up the chart. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ here, and hold on one sec. So we'll take a look at NASDAQ, and NASDAQ was actually where I thought the fire was, and I'll show why. Now, remember in both these markets, if we take a larger picture, let me zoom out to this for a second. Look at the hourly on this. So look at this hourly drive we've been having every day. It's gap higher. We had a gap fill here, but it's just been a constant drive up, really since the 24th of June. And you got to figure at this point, the thinking was that this was a big breakdown here, and shorts were just getting squeezed here. But at this point, shorts are just out of control. People who shorted this area up here were thinking, well, wow, we've got an excellent trade entry at this point, and they are doing everything they can to hang on patiently, but they're really just getting their, for lack of a better term, their nuts squeezed really bad in here, and they're just in a bad way. They haven't been able to get any kind of dip since the really going back to July. It looks like 6th right in here, and if they didn't cover, if they weren't smart enough to cover here, you really have to look at is if they were shorting anywhere in here, like this gap fill right here, any of this, they're just getting crushed. I mean, even if you shorted here, we had this gap fill and you finally had this run down, I'm thinking if I'm a short, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll over now. So they've really just been an absolute pain, both in the NASDAQ and on the ES. The ES chart looks the same. So when we go back to this chart, 5 minutes, okay, and NASDAQ's always a little bit harder because of the volatility. So if we'll look over lunch, we came in, we opened up. The first move down into the white zone, right? Middle to back or even front. Yielded you a move out. Again, while I'm looking for 8 ticks or 2 points, sometimes on occasion I'll be looking for 12 or 16 ticks. All I'm looking for in NQ is 4 to 5 points. And that's equivalent to my 8 ticks. So it's not a lot. You don't need a lot. There's certainly more there if you want it, but you just don't have to have a lot. And sometimes as little as 2 or 3 ticks will do the trick. 2 or 3 ticks, 2 or 3 points will do the trick for me in NQ. It's pretty damn volatile. But if you look how tight this range was here. We basically were trading from this 1364 area down to this 1350, and it's just a tight range compared to the prior day. I mean, look at this move here, all the way up, just really beautiful, nice trend day up, right? And look at what was the absolute crap here in the morning, where it just kind of bunched up. Buyers had control early. We got a nice rotation from the back to the middle of the zone. We came in, sellers gained control. We got rejection out of the white zone on the first test up on a 5-minute basis. And it came down, but it just never broke down over lunch. They held this area, which was a support area. You can see going back into the prior day. And they were able to rotate back up. And this is when I sent out the warning. I specifically pointed out right when this occurred that buyers now had control and that there was just a tremendous amount of possible fuel for a run up at the end of the day. And that's exactly what we got. We got this beautiful move from about 1358, 3058, all the way up to 3070, right into the resistance point. You see that we got the rejection pushed right in. We got the rejection down. Now, this points out a couple of things. First of all, let's say, for example, how that white zone works. Let's say, for example, you'd been short in here, and then you get this close here where buyers get control. Even if you weren't using a reasonably tight stop, at this point buyers have control. There's no reason, none, to press the short at this point, okay? Just like when we broke down here from the long, you had a relatively low pain, low risk stop out, right? And you could just wait for your next entry. You had your first test in here, second test here. We had some separation in this zone, you'll see. And again, the range was crap. We just didn't have anything to work with here. But once buyers had control, and then if you look at the bigger picture, going back to seeing how far this thing has run up, and the sellers just don't have any strength, and you got to calculate that. You can't just get locked on the intraday basis. If you were short here, you had to hope that sellers were going to step in a big way at the end of the day, and it's counterintuitive. Look, who do you think has control here through all of this? Day after day of run up, right? Every single day, even when they've tried to make a push down, the shorts have had to come in and cover at the end of the day. Every single day, almost without exception, they've had to push up into the close to cover. So you're just betting against what the market's been giving you plain information, and that plain information has been that shorts are in a bad way. Now, This right here, this last little push down, proved interesting, but only if you placed your trade location in the perfect area. So what my takeaway from this takeaway here is this. It's two things. First of all, and if we look at the NQ trade, you'll see that sellers never gain control at all. There's really no reason to be pushing your shorts around here. If you had good trade placement, you had some contra trade action that worked, okay? Back of the zone, first front of this zone, end of day. If you wanted, I mean, this is the most aggressive trade right here, but if you wanted to, but where you placed that trade mattered. Middle to back, this kept you in the trade. Even at the front of the zone versus shorting right here, right? Second time up, you're shorting here. Look at all the pain you had to take. It would easily be a stop out versus when you're shorting in a fresh area that's been tested for the first time, you get immediate rejection often on the first test. The middle to back is for more patient traders. For aggressive traders, that front of the zone, that's where you want to take it. That's fine. Just realize you may have to take pain all the way to the back of the zone, and you need to leave some room behind there for the potential pain. There's multiple ways to handle it, but you just have to realize it's possible to push to the back and still have it roll over to the downside, still have it be a successful trade. Again, buyers are in control. On NQ, even though sellers took control and it looked weak right here, you can see that we weren't able to push any further than this support zone here from the prior day, the structure right here. And then we pushed back up into the white zone. This was second touch. Again, each time it touches the zone, the resistance becomes less and less. And then at this point right here, boom, buyers are back in control. You're at the end of the day. You're pushing highs, not just daily highs, but weekly highs and monthly highs. Why are you going to sit there and fight that? Why are you going to sit there and go, I know that I'm right, when you can have one or two choices? I'm going to take a long here. If you're very aggressive, sure, super. Knock that out. Okay? But even if you're not, you just go, hey, I'm just taking my hands off of it. I'm either taking a small loss, or if you're like me, I never bothered with the short in this area. And you're going, okay, I'm just going to just watch. I'm going to see what happens because I don't have to expose myself at the end of the day to taking a big loss at the end of the week. I don't have to bury myself in what should have been a good day right out of the white zone anyways, right up here at the front, right? The money was made, the easy money was made right in here. And then you set yourself up for the week. Think about how that sets you up mentally. And are you setting yourself up when you're trading, not just from a technical standpoint of good entry, but are you setting yourself up mentally to be able to trust yourself on a day in, day out basis? Are you setting yourself up so that when you sit down, you go, I know I can trust who I am as a trader. I know I'm only taking the highest odds trades. And I know that I'm not fighting what the market is clearly communicating to me. Is it frustrating when you finally get sellers in control for the first time in a long time and then they lose it and they let it creep back up? Yeah. But let me tell you what's more frustrating is that you hold a short from this area down here, okay? Or even if you were aggressive and you shorted this area up here, I don't know why you did that, but if you did, super, maybe you had something that I didn't see. And then you let them push it all the way up. And you know what's going to happen right here at this 30.70? Most traders are going to panic. Most people are not going to be able to hold and let this come back down and be grateful that it came back down. And even if you did, you're still covering for a loss. The only place to put a good short in was up here, middle to back of the zone. I guess you could take in the front of the zone. It's aggressive. But think about when you're setting it up. It's not just about setting up the good trade. It's about setting yourself up consistently to be able to perform so that you trust yourself that when you click on that mouse, when you enter that trade and when you put in your stop, you're going to stay true to yourself, true to that stop. And the only way you can do that is if you know that even if you lose on this particular trade, your next trade has very high odds of paying you and you want to get paid. That's how it works. So my name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching. It's late Sunday evening. I'm sorry for getting the review out so late. I certainly hope this helps some people. I hope everyone banked last week, and I'm looking forward to banking next week. The market is providing some wonderful, wonderful opportunities. This is summertime. It's usually the worst time of the year, and there's really a lot of money being made in here, and I certainly hope that y'all are participating with that. Y'all have a great night, and remember, have a plan, trade your plan, and respect your capital, respect your risk, and mostly respect the amount of time that you're putting into this venture, and make sure that you're getting paid out of your efforts. Have a good night, folks.